Welcome back to the Big Sky Now. I'm Josh Dugan, and on this week's Big Sky Now, we're going to be talking about the Big Sky basketball tournament that tips off later this week in Boise. So, we'll do a little breakdown of how things look heading into the tournament for the men and women. We're going to go through the favorite, the contenders, sleepers, and dark horses on each side of things. Let's start out the men's side. The dark horses, who are the long shots to win this year's Big Sky tournament, or at least make a deep run. Very long shots, in my opinion. Sacramento State, Idaho State, and Portland State. The Portland State Vikings on paper jump out as a team who could be a sleeper, make a little run, make things interesting. But heading into the final week of the regular season, they're 6-2 at home, but 1-7 on the road. So with the tournament being played at a neutral site, you got to think that road record comes into play a little bit. You're not in front of your home crowd. You don't have the comfort of playing in front of your fans. It's a little different atmosphere. So that's what keeps the Vikings in the dark horse category. Can't count anybody out this time of year with March Madness. We know how that goes, but let's move along to the sleepers. As far as teams who have a shot, they're definitely long shots, but there's a puncher's chance to make a deep run and pull off some March Madness magic. Last year, we had Montana State and NAU meet in the Big Sky tournament finale. This year, the two teams are my sleepers. NAU last year, they entered the tournament as the 9th seed and pulled off a major upset over top seed Eastern Washington in the quarterfinals, and then knocked off number 4 seed Montana last year in the semifinals. So the Lumberjacks do have experience playing spoiler this time of year. Their top scorer from last year is gone. Jalen Cone left via the portal, but Trent McLaughlin has stepped in as the leading scorer. He's averaging 16 points per game. Head coach Shane Burkhart's squad is going to be familiar with being in the position of being an underdog and having the chance to play spoiler. They did it last year. They also have a guy named Carson Basham who scores 12 points a game, 6 rebounds, and almost 2 blocks. So the Lumberjacks do have some real talent with guys like Basham and McLaughlin. Head coach Shane Burkhardt is back at it. So I got to say, the Lumberjacks are hard to completely write off heading in to their time in Boise. As for Montana State, their head coach from last season, Danny Sprinkle, went on to Utah State, and he's turned the Aggies into a top 25 program in the country. So they're no longer the back-to-back defending Big Sky champions who won the tournament 2 years in a row. It's got a little different feel with first-year head coach Matt Logie, but they've had a solid season despite losing quite a bit of talent in the portal. So the Bobcats, they have 3 scorers who average double digits, led by 15 points per game from Robert Ford. He's one of my candidates for Big Sky Player of the Year. Overall, just stellar play, averages 8 rebounds a game, 3 assists, and nearly 3 steals per contest, all near the top of the Big Sky rankings. So one of those guys who, if Ford gets it going in Boise, the Cats have a legitimate chance of making a deep run. Brandon Walker and Brian Gorecki both average 13 points per game for the Cats, so look for the trio of Ford, Walker, and Gorecki to lead the way for Montana State. On to the contenders, where 3 teams are in the hunt. Weber State, Northern Colorado, and Montana all have a serious shot at winning the conference tournament. If they bring their A game and everything clicks, they have a real chance. All 3 of these teams have 4 scorers who average double digits, and they bring some serious firepower on offense, starting with Weber State, who's led by NBA draft prospect Dylan Jones, likely going to be the Big Sky Basketball Player of the Year. He's currently set to pull off the Triple Crown and leading the conference in scoring, rebounding, and assists heading into the final weekend of the season, so good chance that Weber State's going to have some success at the tournament with Jones leading the way. He's the type of talent that can take over a basketball game. And if he gets it going in Boise, the Wildcats have a real chance at winning the whole thing, in my opinion. Stephen Verplanken is another name to know for the Wildcats. The 6'4" senior guard is their second leading scorer, scores over 12 points per game, and he hits 38% of his three-pointers and shoots over 80% from the free throw line. So late in the game, if Dylan Jones is double team and the Wildcats need a big basket, look for Verplanken to be the guy to step up. Blaze Threat and Dyson Kohler are 2 other Wildcats averaging double digits, so they can hurt you as well. Quite a few scorers who get it done for Weber State. That definitely makes them a contender, in my opinion. Northern Colorado is next up on the list of contenders. They're led by a Big Sky Player of the Year contender as well. St. Thomas has been a star for the Bears after transferring from Chicago Loyola. Thomas is second in the conference in scoring and rebounds behind Jones. He hits 86% of his free throws, and similar to Dylan Jones, he's the type of talent who could take over a basketball game and lead a team to a Big Sky championship at the tournament. Thomas doesn't do it alone. DeJour Reeves, he drops 15 points per game. That's a name to know. The 6-foot guard only averages 1.5 assists per game, so you know he has a scorer's mentality. And if he gets hot in Boise, all of a sudden, Northern Colorado can definitely make a run. He's going to be a big impact guy. Reeves is. Brock Wisney and Jerron Riley are the 2 other scorers averaging over 11 per game for the Bears, while both pulling 4 rebounds per game. So, and Riley leads the team with 5 assists. So those are 2 more names to watch. overall, Northern Colorado has a very complete team. They have a star player in Thomas, and all of a sudden you do the math, they're a team that looks like they're ready to compete in Boise. Kind of interesting. Their best player last year, Dalton Knecht, he left and went to Tennessee. So all of a sudden, a big NBA draft prospect. And here, the Bears are actually better this year. It's just interesting. Modern era college basketball, so many different elements go into a team's success, but it seems like they have the chemistry and team right now to make a run in Boise if they get hot at the right time. Let's round out our contenders with the Montana Grizzlies, who get it done by using depth and experience. 7-year senior Aiden Moody leads the Grizz with over 16 points per game. He's near the top of the conference in three-pointers made per game. One of those guys who's tailor-made for today's era of basketball. Three-point shooting is at a premium, and Moody is not afraid to let it rip from anywhere on the floor. If he can find a shot, the Grizz can beat anybody in Boise. I'm not saying they're going to, but if he gets hot, they can compete with anybody. Deshaun Thomas is the next leading scorer for Montana with 12 points per game and 4 rebounds. And Brandon Whitney has been stellar as the Grizzlies' point guard, averaging 10.5 points and nearly 5 assists per game. And despite not putting up a lot of points, a guy who could be an X factor is Lolu Oki. He might be the X factor for Montana as a rim protector and rebounder. The Grizz want to make a deep tournament run. You got to control the glass, and he's had some monster rebounding games. He had 19 boards versus Nevada and 15 versus San Jose State. So if Oki can get it done, he could be the guy to really swing a game and help them win the Big Sky tournament or at least make a deep run. So we rolled through our dark horses, sleepers, and contenders. So we're down to our favorites. The team, in my opinion, poised to do it is the Big Sky regular season champs, the Eastern Washington Eagles. Last year, they were the regular season champs again. Got knocked off by Northern Arizona, as we mentioned last season. They're going to be hungry to redeem themselves, make the run at least to the title game, and I like the Eagles' chances. They're led by Cedric Howard. He logs big minutes at guard and forward, and he puts up 15 points per game to lead the team. And he leads the team in rebounds and steals, so he's kind of their do-it-all star. But they have a lot of guys. Coward's the top dog, but Ethan Price and Casey Jones are both names to know. They both average over 12 points per game and both shoot over 50% from the field. Very efficient team the Eagles are. Jake Kyman averages almost 11 per game for the Eagles, but what really stands out about Kyman heading into the tournament, he's hitting 44% of his threes. So if he gets it going in Boise, starts knocking down shots, that could be a real difference maker. That type of player, you can't really teach that ability to shoot. Some guys just have it. Kyman has it. He's one of those guys, if he gets it going, can definitely swing a ball game. So it really helps put the Eagles over the top. They have the big-time players who make the plays like Coward, but he could be a difference maker. Six-man Dane Erikstrup rounds out the scores in double digits. They have 5 guys who score in double digits, and Lawan Watts is also a contributor off the bench with 9 points per game and 5 rebounds, which is second best on the team. So the Eagles are deep, they're experienced, and they're very talented. One last name to remember for Eastern Washington, 5th-year senior guard Ellis Magnuson. He's the floor general for the Eagles. He only averages 2.9 points per game, but he's starting in 28 of 29 games. So clearly it doesn't matter if he scores or not because he's doing everything else right. 4.9 assists per game. One of those guys who sometimes coaches say you need a floor general, a second coach on the floor. Magnuson's that guy for the Eagles. Doesn't put up huge numbers, but he's a Boise, Idaho product. Going to be back at home in his hometown, playing in front of his home crowd, his friends, family. You got to think he's going to be very motivated, and a guy who, if the Eagles get in a tough spot, they start thinking about last year, maybe they lost the game. You need a guy with his type of leadership at point guard who can keep that offense composed and under control. Those kind of things are huge in postseason play. So I got to say, I really like the Eagles' chance of taking care of business as the top seed, but no guarantees, as we know this time of year with March Madness, all that fun stuff. Alrighty, on to the Big Sky women, starting with the dark horses who are long shots to make a deep run at the tournament. We got Portland State, Sacramento State, Weber State, Idaho State, and Idaho all falling into this category. Of these teams, Idaho State and Idaho are the best in the standings. Both sit at 7-9 overall in conference play. Idaho State is just 2-11 overall this year on the road, though. Idaho, though, is 10-3 on the road entering the final week of the regular season. So if there is a dark horse team that can make a run at a neutral site, we'll give the Vandals the best shot. No doubt about that, as they've shown an ability to get it done playing away from home. Let's move on to the sleepers, where we have Montana State and Northern Colorado, who are both in the middle of the pack in the Big Sky women's standings. The Bobcat women are led by Caitlin Lamardo, Mara Dykstra, and Madison Hall, who average over 10 points per game. The trio does. Lamardo is the team leader in rebounds with 6.3 per game and 1.6 steals per contest. So she gets it done on all aspects of the game, both sides of the floor, and it's definitely a key player. One name to watch, freshman guard Natalie Picton has 2 straight games with over 10 points over the last week. So keep an eye out for Picton to potentially give a little scoring boost to the Bobcats if she does get some solid minutes in the tourney. It seems like this time of year, there's always a couple players who step up, rise to the occasion, and kind of establish themselves in the college ranks. So we'll see if Picton can be one of those players. As for Northern Colorado, Delaney Byrne leads the Bears with 13.5 points per game to go along with 7.8 rebounds, and Hannah Cemental is our next leading scorer with 12.5 points per game. Both Byrne and Cemental average over a steal per game, so they can get it done on both sides of the floor. Seneca Hackley is a name to watch for the Bears as well. The redshirt junior guard is making 43% of her three-point attempts while averaging almost 10 points per game. We mentioned it about the player on Eastern Washington earlier, Kyman, dropping 44% per game. Hackley, 43% of her threes. That can make a big difference if she could find a groove in Boise. And the Bears could definitely, pull off an upset and make a deep run if you have somebody shooting like that when it matters most. On to the contenders. Montana's the lone team to land in this category. The Lady Grays have been money from the three-point line this season, and a lot of their success lives and dies by the three ball. That can be a little risky, but that being said, they rank as the second best team in the country across Division I basketball and three-pointers made per game. So they hit a lot of threes. And if that carries over to the conference tournament, they have a real chance of winning it all. Carmen Gfeller has been the driving force of their success. She's scoring 13.6 points per game while leading the conference in blocks. Gina Markson, Maggie Espen-Miller-McGraw, and Matt Koenig are all averaging over 10 points a game. All three are solid shooters from the three-point line. Espen-Miller-McGraw hits 43% of her three-point shots, so another name to watch as a sharpshooter who, if she gets it going, could really swing a game. Danny Barch is the other name to know for the Lady Grays, as she is averaging almost a double-double on the year. 10 rebounds per game, 9.2 points per contest. Just a force in the paint. You need a player like that come conference tournament time. So if Barch is having success and the Lady Grays are hitting those threes, they have a real chance at winning the conference tournament. All right, let's move on to our favorite, or in this case, favorites, with two teams who I think have a real legit chance of winning the conference tournament. Eastern Washington and Northern Arizona. Heading into the final weekend of the regular season, the Eagles are 14-2 in conference play, while the Lumberjacks are 13-3. Anytime you can mow through your conference schedule like that, that's impressive. Anytime you can win majority of your games and lose less than 5 games, that's very tough to do against familiar opponents. So both these teams have the talent and the makeup to definitely win a Big Sky championship in Boise. The Eagles are led by scorer Aaliyah Alexander. She puts up over 15 points per game, and her backcourt mate, Jamie Larea, has been a driving force of the Eagles' success. The senior guard is second in the Big Sky in assists with 5.3 per game, 13 points per game, and a team-high 6 rebounds. So does it all for the Eagles, and she leads the conference with 2.3 steals per game. So opposing teams are going to have their hands full with the Eagles' backcourt, no doubt about that. So they have quite a bit of talent at Eastern Washington. There's a reason they've been one of the best teams in the conference. And they only allow 55.9 points per game, and their turnover margin is double the rate of the next best team in the conference. So they play great defense. They take care of the ball, and if they can get Larea and Alexander going on offense, they're going to be really tough to beat. So last but definitely not least is Northern Arizona. The Lumberjack women are led by sophomore forward Sophie Glancy, who hails from Boise, Idaho, so she'll have a chance to be playing in front of friends and family in Boise for the tournament. Glancy is third in the conference in scoring, 14.7 points per game, and tied for fourth in rebounds with 7 per contest, and second in blocks with 1 per game. Add in her Big Sky best 53% field goal percentage, and you have one of the most efficient players in the conference, and that's the type of player who can get it done at a conference tournament. Glancy is the key to the Lumberjacks' success, while Emily Rodabaugh has also been a big-time player with almost 12 points per game and 5.5 rebounds and 1.3 steals. Stellar overall play from Rodabaugh. And Leah Beatty rounds out the NAU scores in double figures with 11.7 points per game. She chips in over a steal and 4.8 rebounds. So, a lot of production from NAU. Olivia Moran, Grace Beasley, and Nia Moran are 3 other names to watch, as NAU has a lot of depth, and all 3 of those play solid minutes, average over 8 points per game. So one thing to note with NAU and Eastern Washington, they say styles make fights. Eastern Washington, best defense in the conference, while the Lumberjacks have the best offense in the conference, averaging over 76 points per game. So all of a sudden, you get the top-ranked defense versus the top-ranked offense. Really, it's always fun to see who comes out on top. That's a little side note to watch if NAU and Eastern Washington end up meeting in that conference championship game. That'll do it for this week's Big Sky Now. Have fun, everybody checking out the tournament. I'm sure you can catch that on ESPN Plus. That'll be down in Boise if you're going in person. Definitely jealous of that. You'll have a great time. All you Big Sky basketball fans, it's been a fun season, no doubt, but this is the time of year where it really heats up and matters most, so we'll see how it goes at the tournament. On that note, I'm Josh Dugan, and I'm out. Thanks as always for watching.